Everyone, in this video, I'm going to explain what's known as the sleep-wake cycle. So the sleep-wake cycle is exactly what it sounds like. It's the balance between how long you've been awake and how long you've been asleep, and the systems, plural, that work together to facilitate that, right? So your circadian rhythm, so there's two parts to the sleep-wake cycle. And the part that we'll be focusing on this video is known as your circadian rhythm. So your circadian system. So your circadian system is responsible for identifying time of day. So whether it's day or night, and based on that, it will try to make you sleepy or tired. So let's get more into what the circadian rhythm is composed of, right? So your circadian rhythm consists of what's known as your suprachiasmatic nucleus. So that's a mouthful to say. You can see here it's written out suprachiasmatic nucleus, and it's a small region located in your hypothalamus. Hypothalamus. And your hypothalamus contains your SCN, right? So just make sure you get that down. I'm abbreviating suprachiasmatic nucleus as SCN as for ease of word, right? So then what you also want to understand is that the suprachiasmatic nucleus receives input from the retina, receives from retina. So can you guys think of why this might be important? That's right. So, the hypothalamus receiving inputs from the retina allows you to identify the time of day, identify time of day, which also allows for your body to adjust, um, allows body to adjust to different time zones. Okay. So now let's talk about a very important function of the SCN. That is the release of proteins known as clock proteins. So clock proteins are obviously expressed by the suprachiasmatic nucleus and are responsible for indicating to the body, indicates what time of day to the body, right? And let's think about it, right? Because not all cells receive direct input from the retina. So the way clock proteins work is they kind of act as a proxy and will, by a process of expression, inhibition, degeneration, um, they will tell you what time of day it is. So let's take a closer look at that, right? So this, I'm gonna move down some things really quickly. I'm just going to move that down so that you guys can see this picture better. This is known as a biological diagram or a biological pathway diagram, and it's something you're going to definitely see a lot in your biological career. If you take an AP Bio, you should have already been exposed to this, or if you're going to go into research, it's really important you understand how to interpret this. So let's talk about what is being shown here. This seems really complicated, but I assure you it's not. It's pretty simple and pretty intuitive, actually. So in the morning, your BAML and your clock genes, I suggest that you memorize clock as that may be like a supplementary question in your brain view competition. But your BMAL1 and your clock genes are going to bind together and form what's known as a heterodimer. Heterodimer is just a fancy way of saying two proteins combined, right? And this heterodimer binds to the E box, right? To the E box or a certain region on the genes promoting um, on the gene's promoter region, or in other words, the region of the gene that allows for transcription. So the parts to binds to promoter and allows for the transcription of these PER and CRY genes, right? So the PER and CRY genes are allowed to be expressed as and these proteins are formed. So this is going to take a lot of time to do, right? You're going to see how the BAML clock genes are at its highest point of expression um, towards the night and towards the morning hours, right? Towards the morning hours and then towards the evening hours, it starts to increase. But at the same time, you also have to look at the PER and the CRY proteins, right? So the PER and the CRY proteins are also going to form a protein complex, which will keep aggregating or accumulating, I should say. Right? And once this protein has reached, or this complex has reached a certain level, the protein complex is going to go and then inhibit the activity of BAML. So that usually occurs near midday, right? You can see that the peak of when PER and CRY expression occurs is near the midday. That is also when the expression of BAML and the clock genes tend to come to a stop. So you can see that simultaneously as the expression of PER and CRY or is increasing, the expression of BAML and the clock proteins are decreasing as the accumulation is stopping the activity, right? But then what happens is after midday, your activity has been completely inhibited, or not completely inhibited, but it's been stopped. And so then your brain will realize that the clock proteins are low in concentration and then start the cycle all over again, resulting in the expression of the clock genes over and over and over again. So the expression during some hours and the waning during the others allows for you to feel tired or awake in certain periods of the day. So what you need to take away from this whole explanation, this is not really tested on the brain beat, but I want you guys to know, and I wanted to give you guys kind of an introduction on how to read the biological pathways. But what you need to know is that clock genes are transcribed into clock proteins, right? Clock genes produce clock proteins. And these proteins are going to accumulate. And once they accumulate, they're going to so they are also going to stop the expression of clock genes. Then what's going to happen is after the expression stops, something really important happens. The proteins, the clock proteins degenerate. Clock proteins degenerate, right? Allowing for the re-expression, which allows for re-expression of clock genes. So it if you look here, you can see this kind of waxing and waning cyclical motion. That's how I like to think of it. Waxing slash waning concentrations. And what that allows for is your body to understand the time of day it is and adjust its body functions likewise. So I hope this video was helpful. As a quick quiz, I want you guys, or a quick research assignment, if you guys are in AP Bio or if you've taken AP Bio, I want you guys to quickly revise the definition of a promoter and what a box means. That's really important and for AP Bio, not for Brain B, but still. And one thing I also want you guys to take away here is this idea of a suprachiasmatic nucleus. If you're going to take away one big thing from this video, it's that your suprachiasmatic nucleus is your body's clock. Body's clock. Okay? So that's the main thing you need to take away from here. You don't, um, and body's clock because it expresses clock proteins. All right. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. And as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to post them in the comments. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.